I'm going to get to the meat and to the practical stuff of how to actually turn your idea into a lot more ads, like from one idea to like 500 ads really fast. This is not going to be helpful to you if your idea is bad. And so we need to stop for 1 second and just rehash this notion that an ad angle is crucial to get right. Now, I'm not going to go back all the way through it. I just did an episode. It is linked in the show notes, and it is linked in a document that I'm about to show you, where you can go and listen to me talk through how I'm thinking about the notion of an ad angle now. But you need to understand that, because for your ad to work, for your ads to be effective, they need to resonate deeply with the actual felt experiences and behaviors and desires of a customer. And so I walked through exactly how to think about that in a recent episode. You should also be subscribing, by the way, because I'm adding to this process all the time, and you're going to want to not miss out. There's a lot of good details about how to do this, and I'm going to keep breaking this down because this is the number one thing I'm thinking about. So make sure wherever watching or listening, you subscribe. Okay. So, all right. So you've got an ad angle in mind, and you've done the hard work of thinking through how your product, the benefits of your product, meets a customer's desires and their behaviors in a way that makes sense with them. Once you have that idea in mind, okay, what you should not do is make one ad that attempts to articulate that. That is the mistake. What you should do instead is give yourself the best chance for success by taking the hard work you put in to understanding and knowing and thinking about your customer and driving it down through multiple formats that will speak to multiple customers in multiple ways, and do it all at once. Because if you do that, you will save yourself a bunch of time and energy in the process of creating these ads. If you just try and scattershot an ad here and an ad there and an ad here and an ad there, you will forever be inefficient in doing this. But the starting point for a smooth operational process that generates a bunch of ads at scale starts with your core idea around your ad angle, and then pushes that ad angle through a bunch of different formats all at once. And like I said, this is where we are putting everything about the build of my team through the operational process for my clients to try to do this at real scale. And we're getting better at it all the time. I recorded an episode recently where I told you that we had made 3,400 or 3,500 or so meta ads in 1 month for 5 clients. So I think we're going to increase that and increase the hit rate by doing this. Okay. Because this is the thing we're rolling out now across the board. Okay. So the key idea here is that you start by taking your ad angle and turning it into the longest form version of your ad first, okay? Because that will help you to flesh out language for your ad angle. And there's a lot of ways you could think about doing this kind of thing, but you've probably heard me say that I'm a big fan of the long form explainer ad, and I still am. I still think it's a really good idea, okay? So in this process, what I want you to think about doing is to start from the long form explainer ad, writing a detailed long form explainer. And then from there, the explainer then becomes a bunch of other kinds of ads from there. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about what that explainer is. Okay. For nearly every one of my clients, our Facebook ads pixel is installed with BILY, not with a Shopify native integration, not with any other third-party tool out there. And that's because BILY is the best meta ads pixel tool in the world, of which I'm aware it's also the most affordable. The way I know that is because I've run tests with BILY against the native Shopify integration. I've run it against other third-party tools, and over and over again, BILY reports the most complete picture of my actual ROAS, my actual performance, because it tracks the most information the best. And also, it gives me the highest event match quality scores of anything that I've seen. So it is objectively the case. That's why I use it and I love it. You can get started for $1 today. There's all kinds of other great things about it. Go check it out right now. BILY.ai. Go use BILY today. All right, and to do that, I'm going to share my screen now and start to walk you through a document. Now, here's the thing. I whipped up this Google Doc really fast, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to include this. There's going to be a link in the show notes in this episode so that you can go and get all of this document with all of the links and all of those things by really easily, okay? Because I want you to have this. It's going to have links out to a bunch of resources, as many example ads as I can give for these formats. I have to get clearance on every one of those from clients, but my clients are gracious and kind people, so they will give them to you. So we'll have example ads for all these formats, and I think this will help you a lot. So let me show you what the what the document is first, okay? All right, so here you go. So this is the starting point of this ad. Okay, so you start with the long form explainer. So you've got your angle. Okay, and let's just make an angle right now so we can do this all the way through. Okay, the angle is going to be for a supplement company. It's going to be a let's go a skincare company. Okay, because I've talked about Bamboo Earth before. Okay, so a skincare company. The skincare company, the angle is going to be for a woman with dry skin. The benefit of this moisturizer is that it's specifically tailored for a woman who has dry skin. Okay, so the moisturizer specifically tailored for women with dry skin, and we'll say it has some ingredient or something like that that does that. Okay, so I'm completely making this up, but it's going to be specifically for a person. Actually, let's change that. Let's go for a person with oily skin. Okay, it's a moisturizer for a woman with oily skin. All right, and I'll even use some old Bamboo Earth talking points here to make this point. Okay, so this is the basic idea. It's a moisturizer for a woman with oily skin. And so here's how I would turn that concept, that angle, we'll say, into an ad. And now that may seem vague as an angle, but don't worry about it. Like for now, and we could fill that out a bunch of different ways. Again, in my angle episode, I talked through some of those things. You might think about a 35 to 44-year-old woman with oily skin. You might think about why she has oily skin, if there's some specific ways. You might think about any other distinctions about the product, like the application process. Maybe you have to apply it less often than other products or something like that, right? There could be all kinds of details that you could use to fill out those kinds of things. But let's just start with that basic concept, okay? So the long form explainer is the place you start. And I would break down the long form explainer into 4 parts. Now, I have done a full episode about this. This is also linked out. This will be linked out in the publicly available version of this document, so you can get it, okay? Where I walk through a whole long form explainer process. And those 4 parts are hook, body, validation and guarantee, offer, and CTA. I want to run through those fast so you know how I'm thinking about this, okay? So write multiple hooks for this ad. So I would say between 4 and 6 different hooks on the front of this ad. Attach all of them to the body of the ad, okay? So the body would just be all the education information the customer needs to know to make the purchase. Don't worry about how long it gets. Just make sure it's direct and clear and all those things. And this is the long form explainer. It actually doesn't matter that it's like really that long, but the point here is you're not limiting yourself based on length. You're willing to say all the things you need to say to make this ad work, okay? And then after that, you validate it and you offer any guarantee that you're going to do. We have X amount of orders, Y amount of 5-star reviews. And here's the guarantee, 30-day money back guarantee, whatever it is. So you just make them feel fine about taking their wallet out, knowing they should be confident in the purchase. And then the offer and CTA is going to be the section where you just say if there's any special offer or anything like that and a call to action, you know what that is. Okay, so that's the basic structure of the ad. Okay, so multiple hook variations, trying to speak into that angle as clearly as possible. Maybe your first hook is something like you have oil. The reason you have oily skin is not what you think, or maybe it's the moisturizers you've used before don't solve your oily skin, and there's a scientific reason why, and I can explain it to you, or whatever, right? So you sort of drive on the desire and curiosity that you're trying to communicate about, and again, maybe you're thinking specifically of a customer who's tried other skincare products and is frustrated because they can't find the one they like, and so you're speaking to that frustration, and that's the hook. The body then explains, okay, here's why this moisturizer solves oily skin, and then you do all of that information, okay? And again, in this point, you're talking about the ingredients, you're talking about application process, you're talking about how easy it's going to be to use. You can talk about anything related to manufacturing process, shipping, anything you want to say that is unique about the product and that explains this is worth doing, right? If there's multiple, maybe you want to hear mention for the person who has combination skin or dry skin or whatever, okay? So you do all of those things and you don't worry about the length. Now, maybe let's say you have a 3-minute ad, okay? Now, here's the first idea. You have multiple hooks, one version of the ad, and then you actually deliver 2 types of the ad, okay? The first is a no edit version of it. So when a creator goes to read this, that creator reads all those hooks and then does the body, validation, and offer sections, okay? Those 3 sections below that. They read all those things, and whether they read and you then deliver those ads. Maybe they show the product, they're doing this. This is the moisturizer we use. Here's why Bamboo Earth is the best, whatever. You do all that. Her just using, in this case, would be a woman talking to the screen in a very sort of socially native way, right? Videos you've seen a million times on the internet of a person talking to a camera, showing the product, applying it here and there if they want to, those kinds of things, whatever that takes. No edits, no B-roll. That's version 1 of your ad. Now we have delivered the first version of the ad. Okay. And you put that straight into the ad account. That's it. Like, that's simple. I mean, if you need to cut out some uhs and ums or something, fine. But like, you're doing literally no other editing. You're just getting that right into the ad account. Now, this assumes that you're running manual bids as the way to do this, most likely. And if you are doing that, it's the reason that's important is because then you're going to have a situation where you don't have to worry at all about Meta spending too much money on bad ads. You're not launching these in a creative testing campaign and seeing how they're going to go, and you're not spending money on them trying to test them. You're just launching them with a bid cap, launching them with a TROS target, and if Meta spends on it, great. Okay, so now you just launch those as is, and that's part of the thing here, right? If you are launching those in a manual bid setting, now you don't have to worry, like, just run them live. I have at least one client right now where a meaningful number of the ads that we run have no edits besides a person talking to the camera, and it's the best performing version of the ad. We have actually run that versus an edited version, and the person talking to the camera wins. Not all the time, but sometimes, okay? So that's version 1. Now we just made like 6 ads, okay? Something like that. If you did six hook variations. And then you take those ads now, right? But sometimes B-roll is actually really helpful in explaining a point. This is actually, I think, the good use for it. So you pass this over to your editing team and you say, here's multiple hooks, okay? Do those as is. But now make sure in this one, you have a graphic at minute or at 15 seconds in where it shows, up close on a person's face to show oily skin. Like, I don't know what it is, right? But whatever you do, and if there's a point you want to make, if you're referencing an ingredient that's important, maybe you want to cut over to some B-roll of the facility where you have that ingredient, and you're highlighting in some way, that whatever, using B-roll to illustrate the talking points of the ad. Now you cut over, right? Now you get those ads into your design and edit process, and when you put those in your edit process, you now have created 6 more ads, okay? So now we've gotten 12 ads out of one idea just like that, okay? And those will, the edit process will take longer on those, of course, than the first one. But the first ones will go live right away, and all of them can work, okay? And I'm going to tell you right away, this is the argument for using, like my team, my ad team that does my design and edit work. They've seen this process a lot of times. They know I'm looking for multiple variations. And in fact, my video editors now know that if they are deciding between a couple different ideas, and my graphic designers know this too, if they're like, ooh, I don't know if I should do it this way or that way, they know that my instinct is make both. Make both. We will launch both ads, especially if it is a meaningful change in, especially the first 3 seconds of the ad or something like that. And they'll just send me both. So I'll actually get extra variations back from them because they're clued into this process as well.